Have you ever lost your temper at someone you were only trying to help? Maybe it's your kid who refuses to do their homework, an employee who keeps repeating the same mistakes, or a student who just can't grasp a simple concept. You thought you were acting out of love and patience, but suddenly a wave of frustration creeps in and you snap. Right afterwards, guilt washes over you. You ask yourself, why did I get so mad? I was just trying to be a good teacher, a good parent, a good leader. Today, I want to share a 2,500-year-old insight that completely changed how I understand anger. Over 45 years of teaching, the Buddha trained thousands of disciples. They range from brilliant minds who attained enlightenment almost instantly to people like Sudipantaka, a man so slow-witted he couldn't even memorize 2 simple lines of verse. Everyone mocked him and wrote him off as a hopeless case. Yet if you study the ancient texts, you will not find a single instance where the Buddha lost his temper with any student, not even once. Now you might think, well, he's the Buddha, he had ultimate self-control, he just bottled up his emotions. That's not true. If he were merely suppressing anger, he would just be someone with high emotional intelligence. The truth runs far deeper. The Buddha never lost his temper because his mind lacked the psychological trigger that creates anger in the first place. So what is this trigger, and why do we fall for it every single time? To understand this trigger, let's look at a famous story about Zhao Zhou, a 9th century Zen master. He was one of the gentlest yet most incisive teachers in history. He never struck or scolded anyone, yet his words could cut straight through human delusions. One day, 2 monks came to his monastery. Zhao Zhou asked the first monk, "Have you been here before?" The monk replied, "Yes, I have." Zhao Zhou said, "Go have a cup of tea." He then turned to the second monk and asked, "Have you been here before?" The monk answered, "No, master, I haven't." Zhao Zhou repeated, "Go have a cup of tea." The head monk watched the whole scene, utterly confused. He pulled the master aside and whispered, "Master, why did you give the exact same reply to both of them?" Zhao Zhou called out to him, "Head monk." The monk said, "Yes, master?" Zhao Zhou looked at him and said, "Go have a cup of tea." People have debated this story for over 1,000 years. But look at it from the perspective of an educator, a manager, or a parent. Isn't the head monk's question exactly what we ask ourselves every single day? Shouldn't we adjust our response based on who we're dealing with? Shouldn't we teach advanced lessons to fast learners and basic lessons to slow ones? Technically speaking, yes. Adapting your methods is good teaching, but Zhao Zhou wasn't talking about teaching techniques. He was pointing to something far more profound. The source of your reaction matters far more than the reaction itself. If your reaction stems from an internal measuring stick judging one student as smart and another as hopeless, then every time you teach, you're only tightening this rigid ruler inside your own mind. When a student meets your standards, you feel like a great teacher. When they don't, you feel like a failure. That sense of failure breeds anxiety. Anxiety turns into frustration. Frustration erupts into anger. And anger always ends in regret. Notice this chain reaction. The anger never started with the student being slow. It started with your invisible ruler. Zhao Zhou's words, "Go have a cup of tea," were a response free of this inner judgment. He didn't ignore the monks' backgrounds. He simply refused to let his inner peace be held hostage by them. He met every single person from the same place, the pure, absolute, present moment. Now, let's break down what happens when we try to help others. We often say, "I just want to bring out the best in everyone." It sounds noble, driven by pure care and kindness. But if you unpack this sentence, you'll find a hidden, dangerous trap buried inside it. I want to bring out the best in everyone. I am the one controlling the outcome. The best, a standard defined entirely by me. Everyone, an unspoken demand for zero failure. When someone fails to improve on your timeline, anger bubbles up. You think you're mad at them for not trying hard enough. But if you pause and look deeply at that anger, you'll find its true target. You're mad at yourself for failing to live up to your own self-made standards. The slow student or difficult child is nothing more than a mirror. They reflect your unfulfilled expectations of who you think you should be. I'm a great leader, I'm a loving parent, I'm a good teacher. In Buddhist psychology, this is the trap of the ego, known as manas in Sanskrit. The ego's sole function is to build a fixed self-identity, your status, your self-image, your personal standards, and to defend this identity at all costs. When a student fails to learn, it doesn't just disrupt a lesson, it threatens your identity as a good teacher. Your anger is not a reaction to their mistakes. Your anger is your ego rushing to protect your self-image. I witnessed this exact pattern in my own life years ago, back when I was investing in startups. I backed a founder who was clearly heading down a disastrous path. I pulled him into a meeting room and spent 3 hours walking him through market trends, user data, and competitor analysis. He nodded along the entire time. Then he went right back to doing the exact opposite. We had a second meeting, then a third. Same result every time. By the fourth meeting, I lost my cool. I slammed my hand on the table and snapped. Are you even listening to me? Later that night, I sat alone and asked myself, what was I truly mad about? Was I angry because he ignored my advice? The answer was no. I was angry because I'd poured my time, money, and energy into him, and his choices made me feel like I'd made a foolish investment. I wasn't trying to save his company. I was trying to save my ego as a smart investor. From that day forward, I adopted a simple life rule: help others as much as you can. But once you've given your advice, the decision belongs to them, not you. Offer help without holding others emotionally hostage. This is not cold detachment. It is genuine respect for another person's free will and choices. This brings us back to the Buddha. The Buddha never restrained his temper through sheer willpower. He never got angry because he had no self-image to defend in the first place. He didn't teach brilliant students to prove he was a great master. He didn't teach struggling students to prove he was a compassionate saint who never gave up. He simply taught. The act of teaching was complete in itself. It didn't require a specific outcome to validate its value. When we force ourselves to suppress anger, we're just slamming a tight lid on a boiling pot. Pressure builds relentlessly, and the eventual explosion is always far worse. Modern psychology also confirms just how destructive this hidden anger truly is. In a famous 1968 Harvard study, researchers told elementary school teachers that certain randomly selected students were high-potential learners who would make tremendous progress that year. In truth, these students were chosen completely at random, yet 1 year later, those labeled students scored significantly higher on IQ tests. Why? Because the teacher's positive expectations subtly shifted their tone, patience, body language, and even microfacial expressions. This is the classic Pygmalion effect. Your expectations shape other people's reality. When you sit with someone and secretly feel frustrated that they just don't get it, your brain broadcasts that judgment instantly. Their subconscious picks up on your tone and body language, senses criticism, and shifts into full defense mode. And the brain in defense mode physically loses its ability to learn and absorb new information. The harder you push, the more nervous they get. The more nervous they get, the worse they perform. It's a vicious cycle, and the cycle doesn't start in their mind, it starts in yours. So, how do we break free from this cycle? We return to Master Zhao Zhou's simple wisdom: go have a cup of tea. Having a cup of tea is not running away from responsibility. It means staying fully present. It means I refuse to let my inner peace depend on how fast or slow you learn. True compassion is never, I am going to fix you. True compassion is, I will give you the soil and water you need and let you bloom at your own pace. See the difference? The first mindset puts I at the center. You act like a project manager, treating the other person as your deliverable. Every small delay feels like a personal failure. The second mindset lets you step back. You stop forcing outcomes and allow life to unfold naturally. The Buddha never pressured his disciples. When Sutipantaka couldn't memorize even 2 lines of verse, the Buddha didn't lecture him on philosophy. Instead, he handed him a broom and said, "Just sweep the floor and repeat these 2 words, clean the dirt." Sutipansaka swept the floors for months until one day he had a profound realization. The dirt was not on the ground, it was within his own mind. In that moment, he attained enlightenment. The Buddha could wait patiently because he was never in a rush. He was never in a rush because he never needed his students' success to validate his own worth. Picture your mind as a cup full of coffee. When the cup gets bumped and liquid spills out, the bump didn't create the coffee was already inside. If your cup is filled purely with a desire to share knowledge and help others grow, then no matter how slowly someone learns, only patience will spill out. But if your cup holds a hidden need to be seen as a great teacher or successful leader, the second someone fails to meet your expectations, anxiety and anger will spill out instantly. You don't need to be an enlightened Buddha to stop losing your temper. You only need to realize one fundamental truth. The fire burning in your chest is not caused by other people's incompetence. It is fueled by your own fear of not being good enough. The next time you feel that heat rising, when you're about to explain something for the 4th time, don't suppress your emotion and don't lash out. Simply pause and observe that anger clearly. Ask yourself, what part of my ego is feeling threatened right now? The moment you see this truth, the fire loses its fuel. It stops being a raging flame and becomes a gentle lamp that illuminates your inner world. Let go of the heavy burden of controlling every outcome. Take a deep breath and go have a cup of tea.